Hello, I'm here in sunny Milan at the 5th EHPA European Heat Pump Forum, talking to Krystyna Dawson from BSRIA.
Yes.
Many thanks for agreeing to do the interview, first of all. And why don't you first tell us a little bit about what BSRIA does?
BSRIA is a UK research organisation which is working for construction industry in the UK, but also in whole Europe. And WMI is department which is called Worldwide Market Intelligence. It is part of larger BSRIA organizations, and we look at market developments for traditional and renewable heating products all over Europe and indeed all over the world.
Okay, let's jump right into that bit about the market intelligence. That's obviously very interesting. Now, you've done some work on looking at these sort of trends in the new build, the perceived trends in new build versus renovation markets in some key countries in Europe. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we have published recently studies on three major heating markets in Europe, Germany, France and UK, and we have looked at development of products and systems between now and 2020 in heating area. What is very interesting is the completely different outcome of systems in 2020 in new build and renovation market. In new build, renewable energies and heat pumps in particular come up very, very strongly in 2020, but this is mainly due to the fact that legislation is forcing the use of renewable energy in newly built dwellings. However, in existing market, the outlook is very different. In Germany, France and UK, the situation is slightly different because UK is a particular case with enormous amount of installed gas boilers. But in all these countries, actually, renewable energies are not reaching as big a share as governments would like to see. It is probably because the sales drivers for these products are incentives, not legislation. Legislation is not targeting existing buildings. Only incentive can help sales of renewable products in existing markets.
Now, you're saying renewables altogether, so of course that also includes wind and solar.
Yes.
You've also done some work to look at where the trend is heading when you compare sort of solar to heat pumps.
Yes, there is a constant sort of problem in both sides of renewable industry. Solar thermals are very scared of heat pump developments and vice versa. In fact, at the moment, current situation is that solar thermal systems are slightly more popular because of solar thermal water heating systems that are installed in both existing buildings, but also partly in newly built dwellings. However, with the time, as energy efficiency requirements for building increase, solar thermal systems increase is weakening, and heat pumps, who can achieve much better efficiency, seem to be winning technology.
So this is excellent news. We just need to make sure that continues.
Yes, thank you.
What about market drivers, if we say sort of the midterm perspective, 2020, what are some of the key aspects of that you've come up with in your work?
Of course, legislation is one of the main market drivers for particularly new build. However, although many heat pump manufacturers are not keen to hear that, incentives are very important market driver because they are helping to close the gap in initial investment between traditional fuel technologies and renewable technologies. Another very big driver are, of course, increasing energy prices. Renewable energies, particularly heat pump, they can help bringing household energy bills down. So this is also incredibly important push for the market.
So from your perspective then, is the future rosy for heat pump systems? And we'll be saying 2020,
it could be.
2030?
It could be. There are, however, a few like clouds on the horizon. One of them is relatively low awareness about how heat pump works and what they can bring to the wide public. Generally, consumers are not very convinced, or many of them are still not very convinced about the performance of heat pumps. And another very important factor is the price of the device. I mean, in many European countries, heat pumps are still very expensive, certainly much more expensive than traditional boilers. And with current economic situations, it is of course a factor that is prohibiting very dynamic development of heat pumps in the next few years. However, the environment is changing and changing very quickly, and this not only relating not only to economic development of the countries, but also of the large development on the energy provision for households on European level, and together with development of smart grids, so heat pumps certainly will have increasingly important place in the whole heating environment of buildings.
So you've alluded to it already. I mean, heat pumps seem to be expensive. They seem to be complicated creatures, if you like. I mean, yes. What is, in one or two sentences, what is it we should tell consumers to convince them that this is the way to go? I mean, what are the winning...
To convince consumer, I have been thinking about it, trying to explain it to my daughters. What are heat pumps and why do they work? When you think about your own body, I mean, in winter we all breathe in cold air, and when we breathe it out, it comes out hot. Our body, because of the pumping, because of the inside pressure, is creating heat that is given to the air. Heat pumps are working in a very, very similar principle, and I think the very first, very easy way of talking to people in a convincing way is to make it's simple for them, because this is what's convincing. The other very convincing factor is, of course, money and bills. When we can show consumers that heat pumps can make it to bring their energy bills down, they will certainly become much more interested to know how does it work. But I think we need to be very pragmatic in the way people are looking at heat pumps as a product that can be useful to them, and also that can be relatively easy to operate. Don't forget that people are used to boilers. Boilers are very easy, they are familiar with them. Too complicated solutions, like, for example, hybrid systems that are the talk of the day a little bit in the recent months, they are very complex solutions. You need to be very vigilant and to know how to operate them. And this is not a good news, really, for the consumers, because they don't like too complicated products. So easier they are for consumers in terms of operation, and more efficient they are in terms of bringing their energy bills down, better perspective they have for the future.
Great. So to summarize, breaking down the complexity and also bringing across the message, so you don't need to break your bank, quite the contrary, when investing in a heat pump.
Exactly. I mean, it's not only initial investment that people need to take into consideration, it is also a long-term use of heat pump that is really, really breaking news for consumers. They need to think a little bit in a more longer term, which starts already. I mean, people are looking around and start to calculate, but it is still at a too low level, needs to increase in the future.